my goodness, there is so much cool stuff in this Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass Wave 4 trailer that we need to talk about in this video. There's some stuff you might not have noticed, some stuff you probably did, and then some really cool, interesting little details and Easter eggs that actually have decently sized gameplay ramifications for when we're playing these courses. This includes new paths, anti-gravity, and glider sections not found in the original courses, an interesting new way to get items in the game. We're gonna talk about any potential shortcuts we can see. We're gonna talk about Birdo and so much more. We got so much to talk about though, so let's get right into it. We're gonna start off with the 3 Mario Kart Tour city tracks. That's right, 3 of them. This is the first time they've ever done this in a wave, but according to data mines, we kind of knew this was coming. Now the problem is not that they visually look bad, because even though these tracks originate from Mario Kart Tour, I'd say they actually look really good. Not only do they look high fidelity with actually, great details and whatnot, but they're visually unique, which is a big problem I've had with city courses in the past. Even though we're getting 3 whole tracks, one of them seems to be set in daytime, one of them is set at dusk, and one of them is set at night. Now, I've played Mario Kart Tour a decent bit, but I'm not an expert on the game, but fellow YouTuber Mankalore has done these great videos where he basically predicts which the track layout is going to be, like switching between, Berlin Byways 1, 2, or 3, or switching between, in this case, Amsterdam Drift 1, 2, Amsterdam Drift maybe 2 reverse. So I definitely check out his channel because I'm sure he's going to be uploading, some updated videos of those. The only real thing I want to mention here is that they kept these little sky rings on Singapore Speedway. Now, we've seen these sort of sky rings in the past, either at the start of N64 Rainbow Road or at the end of Mount Wario, but those, to my knowledge, don't give you that much of a boost. As you can see, Bowser's pink car here is clearly getting a pretty sizable boost from these rings, so it might be, that they just cranked up how much speed those give you, and in that case, you definitely want to fly through the rings, so obviously you're getting a boost and getting ahead of the crowd. Luckily, if you're not impressed with these city courses, the other 5 we get more than make up for it, and we're going to be going in order of how interesting I think they are. The coolest one, in my opinion, is Waluigi Stadium from Double Dash. This is the first Double Dash representation we've been getting, and in my opinion, oh man, this is probably the best looking and best playing remake in the entire Booster Course Pass so far. Now, how can I say that? Well, first of all, we have an entire new pathway here, which is fully in anti-gravity, accompanied with these boosters that you run into to get more speed and anti-grav, and a glider section at the end. This is so sick. Now, interestingly enough, on this screenshot here, we can't actually tell how you get onto this part of the course. Part of me thinks there will be a ramp that can help you get up there, or maybe a little pipe that's actually blowing out air. But the coolest possible option, and in my opinion, what I hope it is, and what it possibly is, because we don't see either of those 2 other things, it could be that you have to go up the half pipe and then land on this part of the track, which would be so cool because we've gotten half pipes before, mainly in courses like Maple Tree Way, but even in those courses, they're kind of always an afterthought. You never really want to go them. Even on Merry Mountain, when there's item boxes up there, it's just not that smart to do ever. It's a slower path, but here, if this can allow you to get to a quicker path that's in anti-gravity and ends with a glider section, maybe there's even another set of items up there, although we don't see it in the screenshot. I don't know if they might add them in because obviously these aren't coming out for another week, but that is just such a cool idea. It's going to be a way faster pass, but if you have to, do an actually, decently timed half pipe jump to get up there and everyone's going for it, it might just cause a lot of, chaos and mayhem. This is such a cool idea. I really, really hope that that's the case and you have to go up the half pipes. But regardless, the graphics of this course are incredible visually. It looks absolutely stunning and it looks like it recently rained. So we might be getting some ice physics here that make your car more slippery. So watch out for that. Next, we get to Riverside Park, which again might be the best looking course in this entire wave. I mean, just look at this footage you're seeing right now and tell me that's not the case. I don't know why Nintendo's doing this, but they absolutely love giving the GBA remasters the absolute best treatment graphically. I mean, look at Snowland and Boo Lake if you don't agree. I think both those courses look as good as they would if they were remastered in the original game and not in the Booster Course Pass. And that is definitely the case with Riverside Park, which has shot up to be one of my most anticipated courses within this pack. Not only because it's visually stunning, but there's a whole new way you can use items here too. So there are these walking piranha plants here that act as obstacles. In the games, these will blow up little spiky balls and then try and, tilt them over and hit you with them. If I'm not mistaken, their most recent 2D appearance was in New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, but in this game, they might actually be able to help you. You see, they blow up different items. At first, I thought it was only mushrooms because that's mainly what we see, but here you can very clearly make out that this one is blowing a banana. But regardless, basically what can happen is if you run into these, someone else hits these, or you hit hit them with a, any type of shell or bomb or etc., they drop the item that they were blowing up, and it goes out pretty far in front so that you can actually hit it. As you see here, when this one gets hit with a green shell and then its mushroom goes flying to the front of the course. Now, this is absolutely incredible. It is such an awesome idea, and here's why. We've gotten stuff similar to this even within the Booster Course Pass, with Maple Tree Way and its leaf piles where you run into them and, it could shoot out a mushroom or it could shoot out a banana, but obviously those are leaf piles. You don't know what item it's going to shoot out, if any, when you run into it. Here, you can actually see the item, so it's going to be so strategic. For those of you who also play this game a terminal amount, you'll know that if you're in first place and you're getting blue shell, there's very few items that can help you stop it, but one of the coolest items is the mushroom. You can actually time your mushroom up. There's like a 4 or 3 frame window where if you use the mushroom as a blue shell's hitting you, boom, you can dodge the entire blue shell. You can see me doing it on this clip right here, but what you can also see on this other clip is that there's a mushroom on the ground, and I slowed down a little bit to time up the mushroom dodge until I run into it, and then I dodged the blue shell. Now, obviously, that was a lot of luck because it took someone getting lightninged earlier in the round, dropping a mushroom, and then me catching up to it, and it all being at the exact same time. But the fact that you can see that there are mushrooms in these piranha plants' mouths means that you'll be able to intentionally hit one with a green shell, which is something you get in first place all the time, slow down, and then blue shell dodge with a mushroom intentionally. There's no luck left up to this. You don't have to hope that the leaf pile drops out a mushroom. It's there, you can see it's there, and that is the coolest thing I think they could have possibly added to make what would otherwise be a relatively simple gameplay course one of the ones I'm most looking forward to in this entire Booster Course Pass. Next, let's move on to Mario Circuit DS. This is probably the most disappointing one for a lot of people. I mean, Mario Kart DS has some of the most iconic courses of all time, and a lot of them still aren't in this game. We're talking courses like Luigi's Mansion and Airship Fortress, and according to some data mine leaks, this might be the last DS course we get in the Booster Course Pass. Seeing that it is Mario Circuit, a course we've gotten 3 other times in this game, via the original Mario Circuit that looks like an 8, Mario Circuit from the GBA, and Mario Circuit 3, I can see why people are a little upset about this, but it actually looks like there will be some obstacles to spice things up. Now, of course, we got Goombas, which are kind of a staple on a lot of Mario circuits, but there's a giant Wiggler here too. Now, this is actually pretty cool because while the Wiggler was absent from the original version of the course on Mario Kart DS, Wiggler was in that game as a boss for mission mode. I think that that's an absolutely awesome callback, and this course will have tons of corners to cut with mushrooms. It'll be a good time regardless. Visually, it looks pretty good as well. For the last course, but not the last thing we gotta talk about, because, there's a whole extra pink elephant in the room, but we'll get to that when we get to that. First, let's talk about DK Summit. There's not too much to talk about here. DK Summit looks visually great, but we've also seen this version before in Mario Kart Tour. I guess a couple things I want to mention are that half pipes are back. Hooray, hooray. I mean, this is huge. We knew they'd be here after they added them in Wave 3, but it's still great to see confirmation because the half pipes, I'd argue, are more important to this course than they are to any other course in Mario Kart history. Like, you just truly get the feeling of going up a half pipe on your snowboard or skis when you're playing this course because the half pipes, and that's awesome. Only other thing I really want to mention here, besides the graphics, because I mean, again, they look visually amazing and the music will be great too. I looked to see if you could do this little, corner shortcut thing, and it might be possible. Obviously, there's no way to tell just by looking at pictures, but from these pictures, I mean, that looks like a pretty big gap, and I doubt we'll be able to do that, at least not in 150cc, or maybe, 200 with a mushroom you can do it. I don't know if the DK Summit gap jump is officially dead. I don't know exactly what it's even called. I just don't think it's going to be possible in Mario Kart 8, but I could obviously be proven wrong. So with that, I've covered all the courses except for the Yoshi's Island course because we didn't see anything new about that here. The course looks great. If you want to see my full thoughts on it, I uploaded an entire Yoshi's Island track analysis video, so I'll just link that at the end of this video. So make sure to stick to the end, click the end card, and yeah. Now, before we get into Birdo, I just want to talk about my overall thoughts on this course. In my opinion, this could obviously be recency bias and the hype because I just watched the trailer and then am making this video, but this looks absolutely incredible, and it's definitely probably going to be my favorite course so far out of the entire Booster Course Pass. Starting off, the city courses are actually like really good. These are 3 of the city courses that have, been dropped later in Mario Kart Tour's life. And in my opinion, at least, I don't know if this is generally agreed upon, but the more recent a city course is, the better it is, because the Mario Kart Tour development team has gotten better and better with each new Nitro or like original tour track they've added, in my opinion. And these new ones are just going to be more interesting and generally more fun than some of the earlier ones like Tokyo Blur or New York Minute. I hate New York Minute. That is like my least favorite course in the entire game now. But these ones actually look really, really good, and if they keep doing that, split twisted path thing, it'll be an absolute blast. Overall, this course, this entire wave rather, visually, I think it looks phenomenal. Riverside Park, I can't emphasize enough just how visually beautiful this track is. Jumping through that waterfall, that giant mountain, everything on that track just looks so visually unreal. Like, the fact that we're getting this like 5 years after this port came out and they're putting this much effort into the remastering of the tracks, I didn't think they would do it, but I mean, they clearly are, because visually, wow, just wow. Mario Circuit looks fun as well. DK Summit, I didn't talk about it much here, but I mean, that's just because there's not too much to talk about. It's DK Summit, everyone loves it. I mean, we can kind of move on from that. Waluigi Stadium, as I said, definitely going to be my first track I, get into and give a look. But also, there is potential for Nintendo to tweet out and add more stuff into this. I mean, last wave we got, these custom items, which is a huge thing that changed the way everyone plays Mario Kart. If you use custom items now, it completely changes the game. You'll know what I'm like trying to say. It's a huge update, and they didn't even talk about it, and they tweeted it out randomly when the courses dropped. So they might tweet something like that just to build the hype before the wave actually drops on March 9th. And if they do, we'll definitely make a community post or a short about it. So make sure to hit subscribe just so you're, kept up to date with all that. I don't think we're going to be getting another character because I feel like they would have dropped it within this trailer to build even more hype. But just Birdo is awesome. The fact that we're getting new characters at all is so sick. And I guess that kind of leads into talking about Birdo. Now, Birdo here is a medium class character, meaning they're a medium weight class. But the most important thing is that they included Birdo in this trailer. And by all the language Nintendo's using, it seems that people who do not have the Booster Course Pass will not be able to play as Birdo, which is not something I thought they'd do. I didn't think they'd gate characters behind the Booster Course Pass as well, but I mean, here we are. The most interesting thing about that to me is that they're gonna have to differentiate Birdo in some way from the other characters, because if you don't have the Booster Course Pass, but you just see Birdo on the base character select screen with no indication that she's exclusive to the Booster Course Pass, then there's gonna be no UI element indicating that you can't play as her. Does this mean an entire new row that will be differently, color shaded in the background to indicate that it is from the Booster Course Pass? An entire new screen like in my concept trailer right here? There's so many different ideas they could do, and it's gonna be very interesting regardless, because when we get this, content on March 9th, we will officially know probably how many new characters are coming because of these new UI elements. Like if they choose to do a new row or column, that means either 6 or 7 characters. If they choose to do an entire new screen, we'll be able to tell based on how many slots. It'll be interesting regardless, and I want you guys to hit the subscribe button for when that happens, because Nintendo might tweet out more stuff in advance, and if they do, I'll be uploading either a short, a community post, or if it's big enough, its own video. So yeah, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one.